Most amateur players hit their shots low over the net. They aim their shots to barely clear the net. My name is Tony Roig, and I'm a full-time pickleball coach. I've designed the lessons in this video to help players who are making more errors than they think they should be making, and also to help newer players get started on the right foot. I'm going to share with you 3 tips that'll help you actually reduce the errors in your play. Before we get into how to reduce the errors, let's first talk about why it's so important to reduce the errors when we play. Pickleball is not a game that is decided by winners. So those sexy shots that go into the corner, the fancy angle shots, those types of shots are not the shots that usually dictate the winner or the loser of a game. The winner and the loser of a game is dictated by which team makes less errors. If you can learn to make less errors, and by that I mean you just hit one more shot than your opponents can hit, you will by extension win more rallies. And if you win more rallies, you'll win more games. So your focus first in improvement as a pickleball player is on error reduction. Let's tackle what is likely the biggest source of errors in your play, and that is the net. Most amateur players hit their shots low over the net. They aim their shots to barely clear the net. Whenever you do that, you're bringing the net into the equation. You're tangling with the net or playing with fire. And what you're doing is you're creating a higher risk that your shot is actually going to end up in the net. When you compare how pro players hit their balls higher over the net. Because even as good as they are as players, they know that they cannot beat the net. So they don't tangle with it. They don't mess around with it, and they hit their balls higher over the net. If you want to reduce the errors in your play, the first thing you want to do is start hitting your shots higher over the net. Give yourself more clearance, and you reduce the number of shots that land in the net. Quick side note here, because you may be thinking to yourself, Tony, if I hit my ball this high over the net, when it bounces, my opponent's just going to clobber that ball at me. In tip number 3, I'm going to give you a way to get out of that jam when players are coming hard at you. But even then, let's not confuse allowing a hard shot versus taking the risk with the net. Whenever you have to decide between allowing your opponents to hit any kind of a shot at you, even a pop-up smash, always choose that over hitting the ball into the net. We started this video from the premise that reducing the errors is the way for us to play better pickleball. So let's talk now about the second biggest source of errors in our play, and that comes from hitting the ball out of bounds. Just as we want to respect the net and we want to give ourselves nice clearances over the net, we want to also give ourselves nice clearances around the lines around the court, the sidelines as well as the baseline. There's really no reason for us to tempt those lines and potentially hit the shots out. And in fact, there's no significant difference between hitting a shot about 2 feet or 3 feet inside the line as opposed to hitting it right on the line. So the next time you're playing, give yourself more cushion around the sidelines and the baseline, and that cushion will reduce the number of errors from outballs in your play. While we're on the subject of outballs, let me share with you an extra tip for how to more constructively deal with out-call disputes, because nothing can ruin a game faster than an out-call dispute. So you've hit the ball, and it lands around here, and perhaps that is in from a computer eagle eye standpoint. Now it's out. It looks almost identical to me. They make the call that it's out. You disagree with that call. What I would suggest to you is ask yourself who hit the ball here. In other words, who created the situation that's causing a difficulty for our friends to make the out call. Next time you hit a ball around here, take some agency over the shot, live with whatever the call that's made, and play on. As we move into tip number 3, if you enjoy this deeper, more complete thinking about pickleball, join us at betterpickleball.com for a lot more tips just like this. For this third tip in your lesson, I'm going to coach you through how to deal with bangers, those players who often attack balls, hitting them hard coming at you. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn the out of bounds on its head. A minute ago, we talked about how we want to avoid hitting our balls out of bounds over there. So the sidelines and the baseline over there are bad for us. In the same way, however, these sidelines in this baseline are bad for the banger. The banger is often going to hit their balls out of bounds if you let the ball go. If you're standing here and hitting everything the banger hits your way, you'll become the banger's huckleberry, and they really appreciate you hitting all of their shots. Instead, what you want to do, particularly when the banger's inside the court, is let the ball go. Get out of the way, let the ball go, and give the ball a chance of going out of bounds. Because more often than not, those hard-hit balls from inside the court are in fact going to land out of bounds. As you work on the tips from this lesson and continue to grow as a player, be mindful and protective of the information you let into your pickleball game. There's a lot of information out there, and much of it is not correct or not right for where you are right now. If you want to make sure you're getting relevant and actionable information, join us inside Better Pickleball. It's a pleasure being with you, and have fun out there.